This is Jacob's Algebra, Chapter 11, Lesson 8, Part 2. So we've worked through problems, some of the parts from problems number 4 and 5, and now we're going to work through a couple of parts from number 6. Number 6 is just like number 9 that was assigned for homework. So let's get us a new page, and we'll see number 6. Let's do Part C. Part C is 1 over x minus 1 over y divided by 1 over x times 1 over y. Now, in our numerator, we need to simplify our numerator because we have two different denominators. So I'm going to multiply our first fraction by y over y, and I'm going to multiply our second fraction by x over x. In our denominator, we don't need to do that because we're multiplying these things. When you're multiplying, you do not need a common denominator. So I'm going to draw my fraction bar. Y times 1 is y, minus 1 times x is negative x. That's over xy. In our denominator, we have 1 over xy. We have two choices at this point. We can either rewrite this as a fraction divided by a fraction, and then when you divide by a fraction, that's the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Or we can say, look, we have the same denominator for both of these fractions. If we multiply the numerator and the denominator by xy, then we'll have xy over xy. And what we will end up with is y minus x over 1, which is just y minus x. Sorry, that x does not look much like an x. Our other option is to say, okay, we have y minus x over xy. We're dividing, so I'm going to change that to a times. And then I'm going to flip this fraction over to xy over 1. Our xy's cancel, and we get y minus x over 1, which is just y minus x. It doesn't matter which of these ways you choose to look at it. Either way works perfectly fine, whichever way you're most comfortable with. So let's take a look now at 6D. 6D is 1 plus 1 over x plus 1 over x. We need a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply this first fraction by x over x. And what I get is 1 plus 1 over x times x is x squared plus the 1 over x. And so what I have here is 1 plus, and then I have 1 being divided by a fraction, so that's the same as being multiplied by the reciprocal of that fraction. And so what we have is 1 plus x over x squared plus 1. Now, that's not simplified yet. This is not a single fraction. So that means I need to give these a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the 1 by x squared plus 1 over x squared plus 1. And so what I'm going to end up with is x squared plus 1 plus x over x squared plus 1. And then you don't have to rewrite this, but I like writing everything in descending powers. So we have x squared plus x plus 1 over x plus 1. And we can't do anything more with that. We can't factor x squared plus x plus 1. And so this is the simplified answer. And so that's it. So that was number 6, and that's just like number 9 that was assigned for homework. Remember, anytime you've got a whole number plus a fraction, don't forget to add the whole number in at the end. You will still have to get common denominators when you're working the fraction at the end. And dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So 1 over 2/3 is the same as 1 times 3/2, which is 3/2. So anytime you are dividing by a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. If you have something like 2/3 divided by x squared, you can say that's the same as 2/3 times 1 over x squared. So your fraction, this x squared, we can say is a fraction over 1. We can flip it over, and then we have 2 over 3x squared. So that is all. Work on the set 3 problems.